Hi again. This is Conversations with
Chris
and Crystal. And today we're talking about customer service, or lack thereof.
Yes, lack thereof.
Both of us have been in customer service before.
Yeah.
We've had years of experience in customer service, and
It's still amazing to us how many
is.
times people can be such jerks when they're supposed to be,
serving the customer. Yeah, it's amazing how it doesn't work. In particular, we went. My husband and I went to AT&T. He was having a problem with his cell phone. We went in, and and this AT&T for me has all of their customer service people have always been very, almost overly kind and considerate. This guy really wasn't interested in that. Very much a narcissist, if we can put that into perspective. I attract them, so there he was. And he would put me down for everything that I was saying. And that, I've never had anybody at AT&T do that. Never condescend to you.
Do you have an example of?
I don't know if I can remember that example. So there we were with this customer service rep, and like I said, everybody was always so kind and nice, and he had to be right, I think, was the problem. There's that old saying, the customer is always right. Let it go. And he was calling the main office on his cell phone in a speaker phone, having
so you could all hear it.
So we could all hear it. And the guy on the other end said, "Oh, are we talking about this phone number?" Which was mine, not Jeff's. And we were talking about Jeff's number, not mine. He was going to change, he's going to change the password on it. And so then when the guy came back, I mentioned to the customer service rep, I said, well, remind him which number it is. He goes, these guys know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing.
And clearly they didn't.
I just heard it, and it got to the point, it just kept happening with him because he had to be right and he had to tell me off every time. And there's no need to do that. I can talk all I want and you can just ignore me and move on and do your work and do your business and get it done. That's fine. But I ended up leaving. I ended up going out and sitting in the car until Jeff was done. So I was thinking, he was like, yeah, why don't you leave? Yeah, and that's really tacky.
And to me,
really tacky.
I'd have just been like, okay, you know what? I will leave, and I'll take my phone business elsewhere too.
Yeah. Well, then we have the fun one. I don't have this one on my list, but that just reminds me of the fun one. One of the cardiologists that helped my husband. My husband is extremely thin, and I said, is he a little thin? And the cardiologist was also thin, and he looked at my husband and he said, this is what a man should look like. You, however, are heavy. And I know, all my girlfriends are like, Crystal, I would have beat him up. Hit him.
You know what would have been great, but of course you never think of these.
No, you don't.
It would have been great to say, and you should keep that in mind because I could sit on you and squash you like a bug.
There you go, like a bug, and I mean like a bug. That would have worked. It's just crazy
That's so
what people
rude.
think. Yeah, and he ended up working with another cardiologist, and now they're not working together anymore. I don't know why. But I mentioned it to that cardiologist as well because we went between the two, and he just got this little smirk on his face when he heard it. Like, yeah, I'm aware of those problems. So,
well, and that's another thing for another show we'll do on healthcare.
Oh,
but so many doctors have this God complex.
Yes, cardiologists are among the worst. I think I'm pretty sure. That's a long story. We'll go into that.
Yeah.
And then the same kind of thing happened from AT&T happened at Red Wing Shoes. My husband gets shoes for work, and we went there. And again, everybody's usually been pretty workable. There's several locations here, so I have every intention of going to yet another location after this incident. I don't know if he was a manager or what it was. Every year we go back to get shoes for work, and everybody there changes. They're all different. Every year that we go, there's all different people there. So this particular guy, again, they're all young.
You wonder too.
It does. You really do. And so this guy, they're all younger. Like they know anything about work shoes, but okay, whatever. Anyway, we were having a problem with the home office, and Jeff had to actually call because he gets a voucher. And I thought they had kept the voucher. I was wrong. I had the voucher here at home. I didn't know that. But I insisted, and so he called the office. Fortunately, we were early enough in the day. He got somebody there that could give them a voucher, and they could get it taken care of with their home office and whatnot. And this guy insisted on telling me their whole policy. It was like reading the Constitution to me. And I said, okay, no, that's fine. And I was very overwhelmed. It was too much for me at that moment. And being a sensitive person, I knew that about myself. And I asked him to stop talking. I said, you know what, that's fine. Please, thank you. I don't need to know that. You go ahead and do whatever it is you need to do. And he insisted. He stood there and he'd start over. And he'd go, this is how we do it. And I said, you know what, it's okay. It's fine. I don't need to know. There's a thing with me that's like information overload. I can't even watch that Home and Garden show, you know, with all of the improvements and everything, that channel. Oh yeah, I can't watch that because after a while, I mean, I think I've already built 3 houses in my head with everything, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I can't do anymore. Not today, anyway. And that's what was happening with this. I just, you know, and I feel like, I don't care how old you are, if you're in customer service, you are noting how the person is responding to you. I think he probably has Asperger's.
Oh, could be.
Yeah, because he can't relate. He can't stand
Once
it.
you start something, he has to finish it.
Yes. It's a routine. This is how it goes. And so I finally got up and left because I couldn't handle the overwhelm. It was I couldn't even breathe. And I got up and I said, I'm going to leave. He said, that would be a good idea. If you left. That was very rude. And Jeff got up too and started walking away. And I was a little put out by the fact that he went back. And finished, because the guy told him to. He said, oh, well, no, wait a minute, you know, to Jeff. And that kind of bothered me.
That reminds me of a haircutting incident when I was 16.
Uh-huh.
We went to this lady for years, or months anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, at that age, you know.
Yeah, I know. It seems
all
like forever.
And my mom and I. And so we went to get our hair cut, and my mom told her, okay, Chris wants her hair done a little differently this time. She wants, you know, more cut to frame her face.
Yeah, okay.
So I didn't say anything, and the lady just cut my bangs straight across and didn't do what I asked. I said, well, can't you fix it? And she says, oh, there's nothing that's going to fix this until your hair grows back. And I started to cry, and she says, well, crying isn't going to make your hair grow any faster. And that... made me so mad.
Why do people say that?
My mom went back to her and got her hair cut with her again, and I felt so betrayed.
Yes.
So betrayed.
Yeah, it's like, give me a break on that.
So in her defense, she went back to this lady that upset me because she didn't know where else to go, you know, and so.
Yeah, we get set in our ways. You know, it's comfortable. It's familiar.
Yeah.
We just keep doing it that way. So then we have your incident with your car.
So when I was still with my ex, I had bought this car. It was very inexpensive. Those days are gone forever. It was like $6,000, I think I paid for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Brand new. No radio. So my ex and I decided we're going to get a radio for my car because I got tired of, at the time I had a boom box.
Oh, no, I've done that. I've done that before.
Yeah.
I did. You're right.
But so we go to this one car audio place, and the guy's talking to us, and he's directing most of his conversation to my ex, as they do, you know.
Yes,
they
yes.
the females don't know anything or whatever.
Right.
And then at one point he turns to me. We were comparing 2 different radios, and he turns to me and he says, "But the green one's prettier, huh?" And at that point I turned to my ex and I said, "Let's go."
Yeah.
So we walked out the door. Because I'm like, I am not buying from this jerk.
Yeah,
Forget it.
that's a lot of it. Yeah, absolutely. And the landscapers that come around.
Yes.
I had one year, I didn't have a lot of cash on me, and they always wanted cash back then. Now they're starting to change just now, if you can believe that. I had a big tree out in the front yard that was actually growing up onto the rooftop. It was laying on the roof too. And so my usual landscapers came by and said, you know, what would you like to have done? I said, well, I'd like this tree trimmed to get that off of the roof. And he said, well, it's going to be, I think it was $500, and I had $475. That's all the cash that I had on me. And I said, well, actually, I don't have enough, so maybe you can come back another time. And he said, no, we'll take the $475. And this is very typical out here. This happens a lot. And so anyway, they trimmed the tree, and I handed him the money as I was walking outside to look at the tree, and it was still up on the roof, which is what I had asked for originally, to have it off the roof. And he said, well, we'll get that next time. See, if you're not paying full price, they will find a way to gyp you on that. And that just really, I did it. There was a lady, I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and I went to have my hair done, and she colored it and, styled it for a whole $25. It was a friend of mine who had said, well, go to her, she'll help you. So I did, and then the second time I went to her, I was going for an interview, a job interview. And so I was all dressed for the job interview, and I went to have my hair done like I had before. And this time she colored it, and then she left it wet. And I said, and she said, well, that's what you get for $25. And that's not what I had gotten before. And fortunately, I had time to go home and fix it. And a lot of times people do my hair, and I come home, and Jeff says, you know how to fix that, don't you? Please.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my mom and I, we had been going to this lady that at the church we used to go to, and she would cut our hair. And my mom, she could never get my mom's hair cut right. And my mom said, well, when I went to her before, years before, she got it right. And I don't know what has happened, but now every time we went to her, she made my mom look like little Lord Fauntleroy.
Oh dear.
It was horrible. Horrible. She would cut my hair, but she didn't know how to do layers. She would do 3 layers in my hair. And then my mom, she wanted her hair layered all the way down. And she's like, well, I can't do that with longer hair. And it's like, excuse me?
It's just long.
So she was out of state this most recent time that we needed our hair cut. So I made an appointment at the Ulta on Signal Butte and Baseline with Ricky. So I recommend Ricky. He's been doing hair for 45 years.
Oh, wow.
And he layered my hair. It gave me more layers than she ever did, and got my mom's hair just the way she wanted it. She was so happy.
Okay, so we've got
my car hood.
Yeah, more car stuff, more car things. Yes.
So you may or may not remember from prior videos, I had a 17-year-old car that got wrecked in December. So I got this new used car, and with it came this deal where I could get 2 years worth of maintenance for free. So came up for my first oil change, and I go and get the oil change done, and this guy behind the counter, he was all, the whole time, I would try and joke with him, he's all, here's your change, kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I leave, I go to Walmart, to get my groceries before I go home, and I hit the lock thing, and it's not beeping like it normally does when I lock it, and I'm like, I can't figure out what the heck is wrong. So I called him back. I said, did you guys have to disconnect something to do with the alarm in order to do the oil change? Well, I don't know what that would have to do with it. And I said, well, neither do I, which is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So it's not till I get home, and I look out my front window, and I see that the hood is up a little on the car. So I'm like, I've been driving around with the hood open, basically, and fortunately it was latched enough so that it wouldn't flip up and break the windshield, which I've had happen in the past with a different car. That car was a piece of junk anyway. Another story for another time. Yeah. So I go out there, I close the hood, and I call him and I say, oh, by the way, I just thought you might like to know it was because the hood wasn't closed all the way. Oh, that's the first emotion I got out of him the whole day.
Wow.
I said,
you actually thought about it.
I'm
Okay.
like, just for future reference. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Make sure you close the hood.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Is there anything more normal than that?
Yeah. So I'm off school, for the summer.
Yep.
Well,
Whatever
at least
that
6
looks
weeks.
like. Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to get stuff done. So I called to get my cat's ears fixed.
That's right.
Because he's had issues with his ears. So I call this one vet, and they're like, I used them like years ago, but they're not too far from the house. So I thought, well, I'll try them again. Oh, well, we would have to treat this as a new patient since it's been so long, and our first available opening is August. I'm like, what? What if this cat's dying?
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's not, but you know.
Yeah, yeah.
What if I had a cat that needed
Yeah.
You want him to suffer for 2 months.
Right.
So I called this other place. I went there. That's another story. Okay, and so the place that I finally went to for my cat, his name's Phantom. So I
love this one.
it was not really close. It's off Power Road, and I knew they were expensive because 2 years ago I was like looking into their prices, and it was like $50 just to look at the cat.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So I thought, well, I know it's going to be pricey, but I got to get his ears looked at. And he was a victim of domestic abuse when he was younger, so he's very skittish. So I thought, well, it's closer to home is probably better. So I make this appointment. So I get this little reminder text that my appointment for Samson is on such and such day. And I'm like, reply Y to confirm or N to cancel. So I put, it's Phantom.
Yeah.
So then they send me another reminder saying, say Y to confirm or N to cancel. I said, I do not have a cat named Samson. I have a cat named Phantom who has an appointment tomorrow morning at 10:30. Yeah. And then they give me another friendly reminder about Samson's appointment. I was just like, forget it.
Yeah.
So I get there and they do what they do. And it was $75 just to look at him.
Yeah.
And the total bill was like $220. And I am supposed to wash his ears every day and give him this medicine twice a day. Well, that's not working very well.
Yeah, because he doesn't like you
Anymore.
anymore.
Every time I go to do the ears, he looks at me like,
yeah, no ears, don't touch him.
But I have not washed his ears at all because it's like you have a choice. I can wash his ears or I can give him the medicine.
Yeah.
Not both.
Well, no both, yeah.
So I've been doing the medicine, and some days he's on to me, and he hides, so I can only give him the medicine once that day. So I don't know if it's going to work or not. I don't know. But
so
I tried.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
But the one that really got me was my air conditioner. So, you're supposed to get it serviced, especially where we live. It's so hot. You're supposed to get it serviced before summer takes off and before winter takes off, if you've got the whole HVAC unit, whatever. So I call this place and they're like, oh, great, yes, you're under warranty, blah, blah, blah. And we can't get anybody out there till July. I was like, seriously?
Yeah.
Because I called them in at the end of May. Well, so I was like, well, I'll be back at work by then. I'm a teacher, blah, blah, blah. Well, I said, so do you have any Saturday appointments there? She said, oh, well, August, we can get you in on August 12th, Saturday, August 12th. So then, the summer's practically over.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, so I'll take that, And she says, oh, and if we have any openings, somebody cancels or whatever, we'll get you on that list to get you in sooner. So I go over to my mom. It was that weekend, like 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so this is what I did. And she said, oh, really? Because I called them and they're coming over next week to do mine. So I'm like,
what happened there?
that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So customer service?
So, well, we just love sharing these moments with you, don't we?
Yes. Please share your moments with us.
Yes, please. And like and subscribe. We look forward to hearing from you, and we'll get back to you again with yet another Conversations with Adventures. Exactly.
Yeah.
Conversations with Chris and Crystal.
And
so remember,
take
care of yourself because nobody else will.